Hello and good afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Anna Tony. I'm the Executive Director here at Leadership Toledo, and we are now officially on, I think this is our fifth presentation of our Community Leadership Series. So glad you could join us today, and we are so thankful for the First Energy Foundation who has made this possible for us to provide these webinars at no cost to anyone. So thank you. We have the pleasure today of hearing from an incredible leader in our community. We have Mrs. Ambrea Mikolajczyk with us here today. Ambrea is a creative Christian mother of four, crazy, who wears multiple who wears multiple hats, which include being a real estate developer, property manager, owner of Arc Restoration and Construction, and motivational speaker. Ambrea recently left corporate America after 15 years as a pharmaceutical sales business manager to pursue her passion of restoring old architecture. Ambrea decided to dedicate her skill set full-time to the growth and well-being of the companies she owns with her husband, Kevin. To date, they have renovated several homes and buildings throughout Toledo and the surrounding areas and own nearly 200 apartments. You are busy. Ambrea is obsessed with designing and creating something special from undesirable properties in underserved neighborhoods to restore and beautify buildings that have been forgotten about paying close attention to quality and detail. A Toledo native, Ambrea is committed to the success of her hometown. She attended Start High School and graduated from the University of Toledo with a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy degree, where she played volleyball. Ambrea is immersed in the community and serves on the boards of the Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce, Toledo Warehouse District, Mosaic Ministries, and the University of Toledo Alumni Association. In 2019, Ambrea was awarded the prestigious 20 Under 40 Leadership Award for the ongoing work she does in the community. She is also a member of many organizations who strive to make Toledo a better place. Ambrea's mission is to serve the community through development, construction, and motivation, to encourage others to leave their mark by using the natural gifts they were given. Awesome. Well, I know that I am very excited to hear what you have to talk to us about today in terms of making connections and learn a little bit more about your work here and specifically Arc Restoration in the community of Toledo. So without further ado, Ambrea, I'm going to give it over to you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw those in the chat throughout the presentation, and I will make sure that Ambrea gets to those. So, all right, let's get started.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Anna. All right, well, thank you guys all for joining today. I feel so honored to be here to speak with you and to share my story, the journey that it's taken me to get to where I am, and how I use connections in the community to help launch my construction company and development business. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen with you all. Okay, hopefully you all can see this okay. And if you can please bear with me, my children are all at home learning remotely. So sometimes my internet may stagger, but it'll catch up eventually. So again, be patient with me. All right, so as Anna mentioned, my name is Ambrea Mikolajczyk. I'm born and raised Toledo, Ohio. I own 4 businesses in the area, all surrounding real estate development and construction. So here is my family. They allow me to do the crazy things I love to do in my life. My husband, Kevin, we work together hand in hand. Our 4 small children are along the journey with us. Caden's 13, Carson's 11, Rowan is 8, Reagan is 5. So it is, as I mentioned, fun, full, crazy, but definitely I feel blessed. So if there were a quote to describe where I am currently in my life, this quote by T.D. Jakes definitely speaks volumes for me. So he says, "Destiny is not for the comfort seekers. Destiny is for the daring and determined who are willing to endure some discomfort, delay gratification, and go where destiny leads." So from the very start, Kevin and I have been risk takers. It's non-conventional to say you want to get in real estate or say you want to have a construction company and yet you don't know anything about the fields, but that's exactly what we did. All right, so who am I? How did I get here? 15 years ago, Kevin and I were sitting on the couch and he said, hey, do you want to invest in real estate? And at that time, we didn't know a lot about real estate, but I said, sure, why not? So we showed up at auction and we bought a house and we bought a duplex, both fixer-uppers, not knowing again what we were doing, but we relied on friends of ours who we knew were in the construction field, were handy. We learned a lot, we Googled a lot, we researched a lot, we YouTubed quite a bit, and we learned how to renovate these properties. And so renovated them. After we were finished, I couldn't see selling them. So I needed to rent them out. I needed to learn what it meant to be a responsible landlord, how to properly take care of your rentals or your homes, and how to properly vet and screen tenants. We had no idea, but we made it through. The early days were certainly rocky as we were working to figure out our stride and how to make our mark and how to get all the things right. And so it was a huge learning curve. However, we just kept going. We bought those first two, renovated them, rented them out. Then we would buy a couple of more, do the same thing, rent them out once we were finished with construction. Kevin has a finance degree. I have a pharmacy degree, as Anna mentioned. And so we just felt strongly that we could figure things out. We just had to make the leap of faith. And that's what we've been doing ever since. So fast forward today, we own almost 200 units. We self-manage, and we're constantly looking for an opportunity to make an impact, especially in a neighborhood or underserved communities where not a lot of development is happening. And we can come in, take the worst house or duplex or building on the block, renovate that, make it whole, thereby increasing property values in that particular neighborhood. And so Kevin resigned about 6 years into our investment journey. And I just resigned in September of 2017. I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary to really forward the agenda that we have for our real estate portfolio, but then also to launch our construction company. So as we were doing renovations throughout the city, we started to get noticed. People started saying, oh my gosh, you took that building and you made it this. Can you help me? I own a building, or I have an office that I need remodeled. And we found ourselves with this opportunity in front of us to not only, we had been doing property management and construction management services for our own selves, managing a budget, managing the schedule, managing subcontractors. We were doing it for our own selves, but now we realized we had a gift and we can certainly bring our knowledge and skill set to help others with their construction needs. And so I knew the opportunity was there today, that I had to act on it because the opportunity may not be there tomorrow. And so I just decided to jump ship and see what happens and dedicate my time to this thing. And here we are. The businesses continue to do really well. In fact, our construction company has doubled in growth every single year of its existence since 2017. And even in the middle of a pandemic, we are slated to double again this year, 2020, in sales revenue. So glad that we decided to move forward with it, but we still have a lot more to go.
Ambrea, someone
Yes.
did wonder where the 200 units were in Toledo.
Yes, good question. So we're both from West Toledo. We met at Start High School, and we're born and raised that area. So, we just stayed with what we knew. So we started investing in West Toledo. We actually own a number of apartment buildings by the Toledo Hospital and Ottawa Park. There's actually buildings on one street. We own those. We own some in Library Square. And then the rest are downtown Toledo in the Uptown area. So before, when we started, we weren't as concentrated because, again, we did not know really what we were doing. So at first we started investing in West Toledo, then we were in East Toledo, then we were in South Toledo, and we moved downtown. And so we started off kind of all over the place. We quickly realized that it was better for us to manage if it was in a more concentrated area. And so rather than having a house here or there or everywhere, making it very difficult for us to get over there and manage. We consolidated. We actually sold off a lot of our initial properties and really started focusing on our downtown properties, uptown properties, and our West Toledo investments. So great question, thank you. So since these companies and these opportunities kind of happened to Kevin and I, we weren't really seeking them. We just were acting on, the opportunities before us. We really didn't have, mission statements, vision statements, business plan even. So, in Toledo, we've got very great entrepreneur organizations that you can go to, such as MBAC and Jumpstart and the Small Business Development Center through the chamber. And so I've always gone to these resources, understanding that I need help and I don't have the answers to everything. So I remember sitting down with the business advisor, and Kevin and I were telling him our story and what we do. And we literally got a whiteboard out, and he said, okay, I'm listening to you guys, but you're actually 7 companies. And Kevin and I looked at each other like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, you have a property holding company, which is our Torrey Hill Apartments entity, and that purchases all the real estate. But then you also act as a development company, right? So you actually take these properties, you purchase them, then you have a vision and a mission and a goal for that property. The development company is pulling through on that mission and figuring out what the capital stack is, who the partner should be. But then you're also a construction company because your construction company then takes the mission of the development company and constructs it. Then you take it another step further, you're actually managing your own portfolio, your property management company. So it was so awesome to have him whiteboard, take the things that we were saying, put a name to them. Now we have mission statements, vision statements, and these operate as their own companies, but they work very closely together, pulling through not only our properties, but then the construction company works on our clients' goals and dreams as well. So this is who we are. We finally have put a name to it. The other question that I get a lot is ARC. Where do you get the name ARC from? So when I was thinking about jumping ship from pharmaceutical sales, I was driving down the street and I'm thinking, what am I going to name this? What am I going to name this? Our business partner at the time, his name was Rob. And so you have Ambrea, you have Rob, and you have Kevin. And not only does it say ARC, but I'm Christian, so ARC completely in reference to Noah's Ark and his faithfulness and his journey. So starting any of these entities have completely been a leap of faith. And so I thought it be fitting to name an ark very much like Noah's Ark, leap of faith, let's do this. And so it's catchy, people understand and recognize it when they see it. It makes sense for us, and we'll just continue with that name for simplicity's sake. Anna, do we have any questions? Not, I'll just keep going.
Someone did have a question about your logo, but we can, they wanted to know who did your logo design.
White label.
White label.
Josh Cooper. Yep.
Great. That's it so
Okay.
far.
Okay, so when I first started off and I'm trying to launch this construction company, I went and got my Minority Business Enterprise certification through the state of Ohio. So it's a program put in place to help, women-owned businesses, disadvantaged businesses, vet-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses really get this certification so larger companies who are looking to partner with minority companies know that this is a certified, legit company, that we have the wherewithal, we have the bandwidth to partner with in order to do some of these larger contracts. And so I went through that process, and it was very difficult, you guys. I mean, it was hours of interview while I was being videotaped and recorded. And anyhow, I got the certification, super excited about it. Get to Toledo, I get into some of those initial construction meetings, right? So, we've got large construction companies in the area. They hold meetings. They talk to you about what their plans are and, who the partnerships would be at. And you get an opportunity to bid on these projects. And so I walk in the room And immediately I am met with, after I talked to a number of people, they said, hey, are you union? So we can partner with you, but you have to be in the union. So at that point, I mean, I don't have the financial bandwidth to be a part of the union at this juncture, maybe eventually, but I quickly realized that I wouldn't be able to partner in that way. And so rather than trying to fight or muster my way in, I decided to stick with what I know, which is our niche. And our niche ended up naturally being an historic building in an underserved neighborhood. And so I'm not necessarily competing with the smaller contractors, right? So I depicted in this picture here, you know, on top, you've got the smaller contractor. He may be doing handyman work, some kitchen repairs, bathroom repairs, et cetera. And then here you have the larger rock on the outside. You know, that's your larger construction companies. They're doing the big new builds. They're partnering with a lot of other smaller companies in order to pull this build through. It was difficult for me to get in there, but what I found is this middle ground, anywhere between 8,000 square foot up to now we're going to be renovating an 80,000 square foot building. I've really found my niche in the middle, and that's that mid-sized building that we can come in, provide our services, and really find success. And I'm not fighting the other categories, if you will. I stick with my niche and what I know, and it's been successful.
Hey, Ambrea, someone wanted to know what the certification was called again, and if it was just for construction or can you get it for any business industry?
You can get it for any business industry. Anything out there, you can get your certification in.
And what's the name of it?
It's called an MBE. Sorry, I didn't include the picture, but it's an MBE. It's through the Ohio Development Services entity. If you go to ohio.gov, I think it's under like minority supplier. They have the information there, and I can share that too.
Okay, great, thank you.
The City of Toledo also has a reciprocal program as well. And so you can get your minority business accreditation through the city and through the state as well, but they work with one another. Thank you for the question. Okay, so once I found out what our niche was and what we needed to specialize or what we were doing and to put a name to it, this is what we do. So our construction company specializes in masonry repair, which, you know, historic building, you have to have that. So we have masons on staff full time. We have carpenters. We specialize in general contracting, construction management, residential remodels, commercial remodels, and historic buildings. So just to give you guys a flavor of the type of work that we do in the community, this is a building that was vacant for a number of years. Excuse me, it is in the Old West End, and it is directly across the street from Rosary Cathedral. We bought this thing and it needed a lot of work. It was really difficult. It needed way more money than we initially intended, but we put it through just this. Is located on Collingwood, and I'll show you the interior. So obviously on the left, it's what it looked like when we purchased it. I love the guys on the front porch. They crack me up. They aren't mine. I don't know who they are. And then after, you can see the after on the right. This is what it looks like on the inside. So this is the type of renovations that we do. We do not go around the city slapping lipstick on a pig. We really try to upgrade every single building that we purchase. So we rip up carpet, we restore hardwoods, every opportunity we can. We will rip down walls, we put in recessed lighting, stainless steel appliances. We custom make furniture. So the vanity that you see at the bottom is actually made out of reclaimed lumber that we salvaged from a different warehouse that we renovated. And we put the sink on it, and now it's a vanity. And people really like these specialized, unique touches because you don't see them all the time, and especially not in an older Toledo rental market, unfortunately. So we really try to upgrade.
I do have one question for you, Ambrea.
Sure.
Did you seek funding for the very first properties that you guys purchased? And what were the average prices for the properties?
So in the beginning, we were doing it with all cash. We started purchasing back in 2006, 2007, where the rental market or the real estate market was not as competitive, I guess, today as it was then. And then it was right before the crash. So fortunately for us, we were buying in cash and we didn't have a ton of mortgages that were being recalled or any of the horror stories, but we were purchasing cash. And so when I think back to the initial buildings that we purchased when we went to that auction, we bought a house for $11,000 and we probably put about $15,000 into it. So it wasn't a whole lot and we were able to get it stabilized. But I will say in the beginning, we weren't doing complete remodels like we do now that are more costly. So for instance, this Collingwood building that you see, we actually did a full HVAC upgrade. So we ripped out everything that was there and got an entire new system. We did the same thing with the electric. We ripped it all out. We've got a brand new electric system. So those initial houses, we weren't renovating them in a manner that we do now that requires way more money and requires us to certainly get a construction loan. So they were definitely cheaper in the.
Thank you.
Okay, so this program I am incredibly proud of. We work with the Lucas County Land Bank on their RISE program, where they identify certain neighborhoods and they choose homes within a certain budget that we can renovate. And we come in and we partner with the land bank. We are their construction managers on most of the homes, and we do a top to bottom renovation on them. And then the land bank will put them on the market to sell. And so very much in the same way that Kevin and I purchase individually, pour resources into them, renovate the houses, make them whole again, the land bank does this as well. We've done this in the Library Square neighborhood or Library Village neighborhood. And then we went to Burroughs neighborhood. Then we went back to Library Square. And then we just finished this one in Old West End. And the program is incredibly successful at raising property values in the neighborhoods that they go into. And so when we first started renovating in Library Square, renovated those properties, they were going for about 90 to 95,000 or 90, 92,000 in the beginning. And then we left, we went to a different neighborhood. We came back to Library Square. The next homes that we did, they sold for 100,000 and up. And so the program does really, really well. And I'm proud to be a part. So some of the products or some of the buildings that we're working with now with our clients, this one is actually, okay, this is Library Square. Sorry, I was getting mixed up with Library Village. That's a neighborhood. But we are working with Crane Development on their Library Square project. So this is downtown Toledo, right across the street from the main branch library. And we are turning this into, or they're actually going to have retail space. They're going to activate on the bottom level, and then they're going to have commercial housing on the top floors. And so we're currently working with them to pull this through. This is when we first started. The buildings already look very different than this picture, but we're proud to be a part of this product as well. Okay, so back in 2017, Kevin and I purchased from the Lucas County Land Bank this former Wonder Bread factory. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the area, but it is in the historic Vistula neighborhood on Summit and Elm. It sits on the corner there. We were awarded historic tax credits for the project, and they are very difficult to get and pull through even once you get them awarded. And so it's a long, arduous process through the state of Ohio, and it's a very competitive process because all the cities in the state of Ohio is fighting, if you will, for a piece of the monies that they've allocated to historic tax credits. And so it's very competitive. Not a lot of people get awarded when they first go for them. But in all things that Kevin and I do, we go hard, right? So we were awarded the first go around, and we literally just finished figuring out our capital stack, and we closed on the construction loan and tax credit portion of the deal back on October 8th. And so it is full on construction. We are slated to be done with construction in 12 months. It is going to be 33 loft apartments. The building has actually been vacant for over 20 years. So the building is very unique architecturally. There's a first floor, second floor, and third floor. And as you can see on top of the first floor, the roof is recessed. And so it's going to actually allow for private patios for those residents on the second floor. There'll also be a dog park in the back. It's going to be pretty special. So we're super excited about this. This is the largest project we've done to date. It's a $7.5 million project. It's taken a lot of community support and help, City of Toledo, the Land Bank, LISC. I've had a lot of partners help us out with this. And so it's pretty special, and we're excited to activate the structure. It'll be finished October 2021. Any questions, Anna?
Yeah. Do you renovate in the outside areas of Toledo, such as Holland, Sylvania, Maumee?
Yes, I have done some buildings in Maumee, but I have not yet to do any in Holland or Swanton or any other surrounding area. Actually, we worked with Charlie's at his Swanton location, revitalizing a little bit, or refresh, if you will, for the Charlie's restaurant in Swanton. I mean, we do travel to the suburbs and do work as well. That's definitely going to be on a case-by-case basis, and it's depending on the project or the building. But thank you for that question. Okay, so these are renderings of what it will look like on the inside. So pretty special. Concrete floor, modern finishes. I like to say, you know, the old meets new. So pretty cool. All right, so if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and dive into some of the ways in which I connected to help kind of launch our businesses forward. As I was reflecting on some of the things I did in those initial, months in that initial year, I spent a lot of time in the community, and I'm still in the community, but I spent a lot of time connecting, figuring out all the pieces, figuring out where to go, figuring out who the players were. There was a lot of fact finding and research about our community that I had to do, that I knew was detrimental to us having success in areas that we were unfamiliar with. So when trying to come up with what I've done, I came up with 5 key methods. And I'm really hoping that these will be able to help you guys as well as you kind of navigate your professional journey. But first is sharing my story. I've never shied away from being very truthful and honest about who I am, what I know, what I hope to accomplish. Sharing your story really is your unique superpower, and it's actually what makes you who you are, and what will have people gravitate to you and buy into what your idea is, what you're trying to sell, where you're trying to go. It all has to come from a place of people understanding and knowing who you are. So that's the first thing. You have to share your story. The second thing is to be prepared. I am overly prepared for every room I walk into. Overly prepared. Kevin always laughs at me. He's like, why are you studying? Why are you studying again? Or why are you studying some more? The key to sharing your story and having others buy into your story is being prepared, right? And so I practice often, and I know what I'm trying to accomplish. And so I can't underestimate this part a lot. And we're going to dive into each one of these in more greater detail, but definitely being prepared is a part of sharing the story, walking into those rooms. Third is to be vulnerable. I know this is where a lot of people get sketched out. What, I'm supposed to expose myself to get where I want to be? Yes, you do. People need to know the angle you're coming from, what you want, and you can only do that by putting yourself out there and not being afraid to go into certain rooms. The fourth thing is membership. There is no shortage of organizations, nonprofits, opportunities for you to get connected in your community through membership. There's people there who can help you, who you can become friends with, who wants to personally share in your success, help you get there, reach your goals. There's older people typically in the room who have a lot of wisdom, who can help you. You definitely have to become members in organizations that you feel passionate about, or organizations that you want to learn more about. You have to do it through membership. The fifth method is mentorship. Seek mentors. They have more knowledge than you have, and again, can help you get to where you need to go much quicker than you trying to go it alone. It can help you navigate in ways that you simply cannot navigate for yourself. So 5 key methods: share your story, be prepared, you have to be vulnerable, get the membership, get some mentors. Okay, so there are people out there who is the missing link to your chain. If they aren't the missing link, they know who the missing link is. You have to be willing to put yourself in situations where the opportunity can present itself in order for you to even uncover who the missing link is, or connecting with someone who knows how to help you get there. So there are missing links, you guys, in your chain, but you have to put yourself in situations to uncover those links if you want to be successful. Okay, so these 3 things are a part of sharing your story. You are a brand, whether you believe it or whether you know it or not. You are a walking brand. You're unique, you're special, you're an individual, you have something to offer that others do not, which makes you your own brand. And people want to know if they can buy into your brand, right? But you have to figure out what your brand is, what is the story. You need to stick to that story over and over again, right? But you have to also have the confidence in sharing that story. After you figure out what your brand is, you get the confidence enough to share your brand, your story, your journey with others. Now you have to be willing to sell it. And selling, if you will, isn't always transactional, right? It is people buying into the idea of you, right? I'll say that again. It is putting out there the opportunity for people to buy in to you. And unfortunately, it's selling. It's just a part of selling. All right, so and you guys please put this in the chat, but when you see this cup and when you see this bottle, what words come to mind when you see these?
We're seeing consistent, clean, global, pumpkin latte, big brand, professional, classic.
Absolutely, right? Those are all awesome, awesome action words. You know what you're going to get when you see these brands, right? You see the cup, you necessarily don't even need to see words, and you know that brand speaks something to you. In fact, it's a feeling, right? It's speaking to you, it's making you feel the things. She just said pumpkin latte, right? Warm, fall, leaves, like you get all the feels when you see these things. When I see this Coca-Cola bottle, I think refreshing, quenching, thirsty, fun. You know, just by looking at these, what they intend to tell you about what they're selling you. And unfortunately, you guys, that's what people see when they look at you. They get a feeling, right? Either good or bad. Hopefully it's good, but they're going to get a feeling about you when you walk in the room. You are a walking brand, and you have to be mindful of being a brand and how you want people to feel when they see you come in a room. And so that's why a large part of it is sharing your story. You need to tell people who you are, what your brand is, in order for them to get words like that: consistency, right? Dependability, going to be there, right? You're providing this. And so you're walking in a room, you are a brand, and people have developed their thinking around what they know about you and what you've shared with them. Brand. All right, so I looked it up. Actually, economicstimes.com. A brand is the process of communicating a unique selling proposition or differential that is a product or service apart from the competition. That's what you're doing when you're communicating your story, right? You're setting yourself apart from the competition, or others out there doing the same thing you're doing, right? You need to have things that are setting you apart, your unique brand that you're bringing into the fold that you can't get anywhere else. And so it's very important to keep this top of mind. What is your brand? What's the story you're selling? Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to set yourself apart in reaching your goals. All right, brand a little bit more. So you are a brand, you have influence. It's just the truth of the matter. Your story is unique to you. Again, it's your superpower. Everything that you have gone through, both good and or bad, has prepared you for exactly where you are at this moment in time. And you should be using it and drawing from it to help you get to where you're going, not shying away from it. You need to identify what you're good at, what your strengths are, what your gifts are. What is your experience that you have professionally that is going to set you apart from others? Know what those are. I always recommend doing a DISC, D-I-S-C, personality profile, so you even know who you are. I also recommend that you read Strength Finders 2.0 to figure out what your unique strengths are. It's going to spit you out 5 strengths that you should know through and through. Because again, these are all helpful in identifying who you are and your brand and incorporating those things into sharing your story. Again, they all are going to give you an advantage because they're unique to you and your authentic self. And I saw the comments flashing. Do we have any questions?
Nope, we are good. People were just putting in a few more comments and stuff, and I just threw in the resource that you just spoke.
Oh, great. Perfect. Thank you. You were so awesome. I need to have all the time.
Yeah.
I love this quote from Sheryl Sandberg. And she says, being confident and believing in your own self-worth is necessary to achieving your potential. People buy into those who are confident in themselves. And you hear the phrase all the time, fake it till you make it. And so I don't want to necessarily say faking it till you make it, but you need to be confident in your brand and what you're sharing, because people want to buy from people who are confident. Be confident in your product, be confident in the skills and the experience that you bring to the table. They are yours. And so the confidence part is key. I also swapped this from Sheryl as well. Feeling confident or pretending that you feel confident is necessary to reach for opportunities. It's cliche, but opportunities are rarely offered, they're seized. In the beginning, I had to go to so many rooms that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable in, but I knew I had to go into those rooms because that's where the opportunity was. If I was at home or if I was somewhere where I felt very comfortable with or warm in, I wouldn't be as successful as I am today. Making connections has certainly propelled us forward quickly because I have not been fearful to walk into rooms where I don't see myself represented, right? I'm a Black woman in construction or a Black woman in real estate. You don't see it. There's no one else in the room who looks like me, but I can't use that as a metric to stay away. I need to get something out of that room. An opportunity is there. if I want to be successful, if I want to keep making payroll, if I need to not only supply food on my table, but the 19 people that work with me on their table, I can't be fearful. I've got to go into those rooms because I've got a job and I've got responsibility. And I want to make that very clear to everyone listening. It is not going to feel great walking into those rooms, but I assure you, you have to go to the next level. You have to be confident in doing so. People are drawn to confident people. You ever be around people where they're in a room and they're just radiating this light, and it really is confidence. They're confident in who they are, why they're there, and everyone just is naturally drawn to them. And it just goes back to their confidence. A way that I increase my confidence level in rooms that I'm not so comfortable in is by doing the research and practice. And again, makes fun of me all the time. But the more prepared and practiced I am and researched and well-read, I'm more confident in being in certain situations because I know the data. I know what's going on. I know the organizations in the room. I know the companies in the room. I know the people in the room. I know what I'm trying to do next and how, certain people can help me get there or provide advice or guidance. And it comes from confidence, and then it comes from doing your research and practicing like crazy. So then you can be confident in sharing and asking for what you want. Okay, so again, I did pharmaceutical sales for 15 years. And so they poured so much training into us by way of selling. It wasn't even funny. We would practice and practice and practice again in the car. So we pull up to a physician's office and we sit outside, and we would practice every single scenario. So for instance, I come into a physician's office and I say, hey, my product is great, and these are the side effects, what do you think? And if the physician says, you know what, no, I don't like that, it has this warning, my patients can't do well with that, I would then practice my rebuttal, if you will, to what they would say. And so we would practice every single scenario. We would be videotaped. There would be critiques played back afterwards. And so talk about having everything on display, but it really set you up for an opportunity to be successful when you walked into the room because you were overly prepared. And so even though you may not necessarily be selling something per se or having a transaction, people are still deciding on whether they are buying into you, the idea of you, the moment you walk in and the moment you open your mouth. So the more confident you are, the more you've practiced your story, the more you know your skills, your expertise, the more you know your competitive advantage, the more likely they are to buy what you're selling. Whether that's, your personality, likability, they're looking for commonality, how smart you are, what you have to offer. Do they like you? Is this someone that I want to invest a mentorship into? Is this someone I want to develop a friendship with? Right? People are deciding whether it's good or bad, they are deciding. But if you show up having already done the work, it makes it that much easier for them to buy into what you have. So if I'm going in and talk to a lender, I know that I need to have my financials in order, and I need to do all the back work in order to make their job easier. Kevin's amazing at that because he has his finance degree, and that's what he did professionally for 10 years. And so that certainly helps us. But know who your audience is, know what they need to make the decision easier, right? If there's a job you're going after, maybe talk to the person who currently has that job or that is moving away from the job or moving out of the job. You can sit down and talk to them and just glean, ask them what helped them to get there. Obviously, knowledge is power. So really be willing to, again, put yourself out there. You're selling yourself. You are a brand, and whether you like it or not. So I love this quote as I was putting this together, right? We all know the Jay-Z song, but if you're having sales problems, I feel bad for you, son. I've got 99 problems, but my pitch ain't one. I know my pitch, and I can say it while I'm sleeping. Literally, my story, Kevin and I, we've been investing for 15 years. We had an idea. We just went in face first, learned a lot. Fast forward today, we're 200 apartments. We've learned a lot throughout the way, right? It's succinct, and I tailor it based on who my audience is, but I know what my brand is. I know what I need to communicate based on who I'm communicating with. And so develop your pitch, practice it like crazy, have a goal, and be very purposeful, and ask for what you want. You also have to be engaged. And this is the part that people don't like, but walking into those rooms where you aren't represented, you can't be afraid to do that. You can't be a woman. You can't be afraid to be the only Black woman. You can't be afraid to be the only man. Like you cannot be afraid. In those rooms are your opportunity. And when you get there, it's not okay to just sit off by yourself. You have to be engaging. Go up to people, tell them who you are, share a little bit of your story, exchange business cards, follow up, know what is going on. Literally, it is so amazing right now because we have in this post-COVID life. I guess we aren't post-COVID, we're still in the middle of it. But this coronavirus life, we are so quickly able to be connected with whoever, wherever, whenever. I can be in Chicago in a meeting on a webinar in the morning. I could be in Toledo, Ohio in a webinar during lunch. And then I can be in Florida at dinner time, learning some more, connecting some more. So it's more easier than ever to be engaging and go into those rooms, go into those webinars, and get the information you seek. But you've got to, be willing to do the work. Okay, so vulnerability. Again, not being afraid to walk in that room. I cannot tell you how many times I've been told no. I can't even tell you. For a while there, as I was working through the Wonder Bread project, we kept going to every single local lender and local bank. Then we took it regional. I was going to Sandusky. I was going to Port Clinton. I was trying to find someone to lend on this build. Week after week after week, we were told no. No, this wasn't the right deal. No, it was too small. No, it was too large. No, no, and no. But I literally take no to mean not today. You may be saying no to me today, but that's just how you feel right now. Tomorrow is a new day. So I'm going to follow up and I'm going to hit you back up, right? Because who knows? Maybe I didn't really share it in a way that was impactful to you. Maybe if I shared a different way, the answer may change. Or if I come back next week because something else happened that might be beneficial to you and help you with your decision making, and maybe the answer will change. I have been in situations where my persistence paid off. And even though I was told no by a gatekeeper, I went to the source, talked to someone directly, and the answer ended up being yes from the same exact banking institution. And so, yes, putting yourself out there is uncomfortable, but I feel like what's the worst can happen? You tell me no. You tell me no, great. I still was able to make the connection and at least start the relationship, and you know who I am. And so maybe it's no today on this project, but you know who I am for the next project. And, maybe having gone through what I've gone through, it may be yes the next time around. And so no is not a negative thing. I mean, yes, does it make you angry? Are you like, darn it, what happened? Yes, you feel all those things, but I never use it as a metric to stop going. Say, no, that's cool, but someone's going to tell me yes. Your no is someone's yes. And so I just operate from that perspective. Going, and I'm bold. I ask for what I want. I know what I want. And I'm just not fearful. You shouldn't be either.
That seems to be resonating with Ambrea. We have people are really liking what you're saying. And that's one of the things that we tell our students too, is no doesn't mean never. And so really, the confidence and ability to go back and try again. So, and someone said, once you've been told no, the likelihood of receiving a yes goes up dramatically if you take the time to understand why the no happened and you confidently ask again, which I think is great advice as well.
Absolutely. And even those people who tell me no, I'll send an email and say, hey, thank you. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Can you provide some feedback? You know, let me know why you came up with the answer that you did. Is it because we need more liquidity? Is it because you know, we're looked at it being way risky and you don't want to take a chance with us? What can we work on to be risk averse for the next time we come into your office? Right? And so I'm always off looking for feedback as well. Although, you know, it doesn't make you feel good, that type of criticism, but it's key to knowing how I get better and how I improve. Brene Brown, right, who's the vulnerability guru, she says, staying vulnerable is a risk we have to take if we want to experience connection. And it's so true. Doesn't feel good. You don't like being vulnerable. You feel very much exposed, but it's a risk you simply have to take if you want to reach your goals, if you want to get to the next level. If you want someone to say yes to you, you have to put yourself in vulnerable situations. Okay, so the membership part. When I first started off, I went to all of the small business resources that we have. I went to the Minority Business Assistance Center. I went to the Chamber of Commerce and their Small Business Development Center. I went to Jumpstart. I went to a number of events the library was having to get my business knowledge up. I became a member of the Warehouse District, University of Toledo Alumni Association. I've been to a number of Leadership Toledo networking events and been a part of their annual fundraising. I cannot stress enough to you guys that the connections are made at membership levels. I've become members through all these organizations. I help with fundraising at these organizations. They do great work and the resources are amazing in our community. So become a member in an area that you are focused on or want to know more about. Become a board member if you can and participate that way. Normally, boards are comprised of seasoned leaders in our community who have a lot of knowledge about a number of different nuances, intricacies of the community that can help you. You can learn, you can grow, create friendships, partnerships. They're great. But again, you have to do the work. You have to become a member. You have to attend. You have to put yourself out there, your story. Again, you know, further in connecting with others based on some of the same ideas you have, principles, partnerships to create. They all have community happenings, fundraising events, networking lunches and dinners. There's no shortage of opportunities to network and build your the people around you. The opportunities are endless, you guys. They're out there. You just have to, you know, be willing to put yourself in situations to take advantage of these. But looking back, I literally I was just hungry. I was hungry for all the knowledge. I was hungry for all the resources, knowing what my shortcomings were, and that I could not navigate it alone. I need to know how construction worked in Toledo. I needed to know how starting a business worked, good financial plans in order. How does that work? Who do you partner with? And I can only do that by creating good partnerships and relationships through the memberships.
Ambrea, we have one question. If you're looking to start a small business, what are a few resources you recommend?
What are the what resources?
What are a few resources you would recommend if you're looking to start a small business?
Well, I definitely say the organizations that I have listed here, the Small Business Development Center could help you from the beginning, as well as the Minority Business Assistance Center. They can help you from the beginning, just figuring out if your idea could even work. How to structure your business. In the beginning, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't even know we were all those businesses wrapped in one. I had to put an identity to each of them. They will help you do that. Jumpstart have business professionals, but I'd certainly say start at, you know, these three, right? To a regional chamber of commerce, go to Jumpstart, go to the Minority Business Assistance Center, which is actually through the University of Toledo. They have incubator and support services. The library has an abundance of free resources. That's the other thing I need to stress. These organizations, you guys are all free. They are free. And they have advisors even right now waiting to meet with you virtually, albeit, but the resources are there. So I'd say, Google these people, schedule, or organizations, schedule appointments. They have business advisors waiting to help you. You don't have to figure it all out by yourself. That's what I did not. There was no way. I didn't know what I was doing. I relied heavily on these organizations to help me. Okay, I think we're getting down to the last slides here. So mentorship. I've got 4 mentors, people who are in my area of study, who have been in my area of study for a very long time, who offer support, who offer guidance. They're shoulders for me to cry on when it gets tough. They provide, I can to them, I can tell them anything, I trust them, and they are not going to lead me astray. Even if it's information they need to share with me that I'm not receptive to, I still respect them and know that they want the best for me. Seek people out like this, who don't care to openly and freely share with you their knowledge, who aren't necessarily looking for anything in return. They have a vested interest in you being successful. And it's a mutual relationship as well. Not only should you be learning from them, but they should be learning from you as well. I right away talked to a mentor in construction, and I talk to him all the time. He's been in construction for 20 plus years in Toledo, and he knows his stuff. He knows who the players are. I talked to him. He was my first step. When I went to the MBAC Center, he was there, and he helped me tremendously for hours and answered every single question I had. Mentorship can be very easy. It can be quarterly coffee, lunch, quick phone call to check in. Sometimes, I don't have an opportunity to meet because time is short, but I can send a quick email and say, hey, want to let you know what's going on with me currently. This is where I am. How are you doing? Hope all is well, right? Just a quick touch in. So you stay connected, you stay in touch. They stay thinking about you in ways in which they can not only help you grow, but share any of their wisdom as well. I do not take anyone's time for granted. I send thank you cards if someone has met with me or talked to me. I'm notorious for partnering with companies who send gift baskets, thank you cookies. These small gestures go a very long way. It shows people that you care and you understand that their time is short and valuable, and you just appreciate them. And so it's just a small token of your appreciation. And again, it doesn't have to be long and drawn out or difficult, but it can just be a quick phone call, quick email, just to touch base. But be purposeful when you are meeting with them. Make sure you have questions. Make sure that you've taken the time to write down your questions. You know what you're looking to get out of your meeting and your time. Take notes and then take action. People want to know that what they're telling you, you can put in place, right? I've got a couple mentors myself, and I can tell you that it is frustrating when you shared a book or you've given them resources and tools, and you meet the next month and you say, hey, did you read it? Or hey, what happened with that? And they say, oh, no. That doesn't make me feel as if they're taking our time seriously. So, be purposeful, make sure you have questions, and then take action. So I never stop learning. This is probably fact number 6 or method number 6. Never stop learning. I'm always looking to be in someone's course or someone's class. Last summer, 2019, I was in Goldman Sachs. I was able to get in there, the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, and they pour so many entrepreneur resources into their cohorts. So many people around the country come in and speak to you. top professionals in their fields of study, and they literally just share with you all the knowledge about how to be a successful business owner, from taking care of yourself, from taking care of your clients, from taking care of your employees and staff, tools, tricks. I mean, the information I learned was invaluable and it was free. I needed to apply and put myself out there in an interview, share my story, share my brand, and I was accepted into the class. So never stop learning. It is so very valuable to your success. Your mentors, you should be learning from them. Never stop learning. Take a course, take a class. Currently, I'm in development classes. Why? Because I need to learn how to be the best developer I can be for, the neighborhoods and the areas that I go into. How do you accurately partner with the neighbors who are already there? How do you listen to the needs that they might have? How do you formulate and get more capital to pull developments through? So I never stop learning. Last year I was in a course. This year I'm in a course. But I mean, they're free. They're all free resources, but opportunities for me to learn and grow and reach my goals and be a stronger businesswoman, be stronger, boss to my employees, and just try to bring the best out of myself. I do that by learning. I read a lot. I attend a lot of workshops and free programmings that are available. But again, it goes back, I think, to that vulnerability and sharing your story. Can't say enough. Story that is unique to you, that is your brand. Then you have to be vulnerable, going to those rooms and never stop learning.
Ambrea, someone wants to know, how do you ask for a mentor? Should it be a formal ask or a casual connection or relationship?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it should be both. I think that it should feel natural. My mentors, some of them know, but some of them might not even know that I'm like, hey, we're together. Because I literally will just reach out and say, hey, do you have time? And I pick their brain and they're happy to share. Others, I don't feel like I have a natural connection. I will do it more formally. Sometimes I even lean on the relationships I currently have to say, hey, I don't know this person, but you know this person. Can you connect us? Right? And so sometimes it becomes more formal if I don't necessarily know the person personally. It's formal and I'll rely on others to help make that introduction or connection. And then others, it's just so natural where we could just be in a meeting and I'm like, hey, do you mind talking to me more? Can I pick your brain? I have a couple questions. I need some business advice. And then I'll go to them, but you'll be amazed at how easy or how happily people are to share the knowledge that they have. But sometimes it's formal, sometimes it's informal. It just depends on the ask.
Yeah. And then the last question we have is, how do you deal with the overwhelm that can stem from business ownership, often caused by the desire to constantly learn, which weighs heavy on our mental health?
Really good question. That is a struggle that I will always have. But what has helped me is knowing what my boundaries are and putting them up, right? I've read before, someone said guardrails, right? Knowing, don't go too far to the right, don't go too far to the left. You're going to have those rumble strips to put you back on course, right? Knowing where my guardrails are and staying in my lane has helped tremendously. So for instance, I know that I need to talk to my friends often. I need to take several breaks throughout the week and have a lunch with a girlfriend. I need to have a dinner with a girlfriend. I need to go to happy hour. I need to take several pauses throughout the week that allow me to let my hair down and not be so serious all the time. And so I have to take the hat off multiple times throughout the week in order to stay motivated, in order to stay consistent, in order to stay sharp. I have to back away a lot throughout the week. So hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. I mean, we've got 19 employees. Luckily, I just hired managers who started last Monday, and they're going to run the property management side as well as help us with the construction side. but literally it went from having 17 employees directly to the owners. And there was no middlemen. There were no middle women, right, to help manage all the things. And so if my employees had questions or need something, they call me, they called Kevin, they text us, they emailed us. And so we were too ingrained with making every single decision every single day, which put us in a position where we couldn't necessarily do a lot of vision casting. We couldn't really focus on growth because we were too busy managing the day-to-day. And although we're still doing that because we have to train our managers and get them up to speed because they just started, I'm super excited to be able to have them and scale in that way. Oftentimes, new businesses just stay working in their business instead of on it. And so because of that, they can't scale appropriately. They can't, they're not hiring the key individuals that they need to in order for them to really step back and work on the growth. And so I realized that too. If we wanted to continue to grow, to continue to experience double in sales revenue every year, I'd had to get additional people in place so that we can really focus on the growth part. Because we can't, again, wear all those hats or we're going to be burnt out really quickly, stroke out early and not be able to manage because it's just too many balls to juggle. And so I'm still trying to figure out all the pieces, but we're getting there. So in summary, and you guys can read from the slide, but you have to know your story. You have to know your brand. You have to put yourself in situations where you are going to be vulnerable, but you have to have the confidence in order to share. So people can feel confident about buying what you're selling, whether you're, trying to sell, getting a promotion at your job, whether you're trying to sell, making a new business leap, whatever it may be. You have to be willing to share your skills, your strengths, your experiences, your personal story in order for people to buy into helping you get to the next level. You have to be involved. There's no other way around it. Go to those fundraisers, go to those business luncheons, go to those community events. It is the only way. Otherwise, you're visible. You're invisible. They can't see you. If you don't have a presence, they don't know who you are. They don't even know that you exist. You have to be out there sharing your own story. I'm the member of that organization that you're interested in. Serve on that board. Find your people. Get mentors, not just one, not just 2, 3, or 4. Get people who are willing to pour into you in order to help you. And knowledge is fuel. Stay learning. And with that, thank you. I'm all done. Please, any questions that you have, let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, Ambrea. That was fantastic. I think really what a big thing that I took away is just the importance of the self-awareness and the work that we have to do for ourselves in order to be successful, whether it's in the workplace or, at home, but really it comes back to knowing yourself and taking the time to kind of develop your own plan. So thank you for that. Thank you all for joining us today. Please join us next week. We have our next community leadership series with Rodney Eason. His title is Leadership Pain, Challenges Create Opportunities to Increase Your Capacity. So kind of dealing with some of the challenges of leadership and taking them head on. We also have a brief evaluation. If you wouldn't mind taking a minute to, sorry, I'm going to put that in the chat as well. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, we would be so greatly appreciated. And otherwise, we will hopefully see all of you next Thursday, November 5th, 12 o'clock. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And yes, we will be sending the recording out. So anyone who is registered, we will have that recording going out in our follow-up email. And also you can find all of our recordings on our YouTube page. So if you just Google YouTube Leadership Toledo, you'll see all of the past presentations, and we'll probably have Ambrea's up there this afternoon. So thank you all so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.